faster than you. Wanna run with me?
Hi, baby. Yeah, well, I was over there. There's no water. It's not very.
They went down the hill. Let's go up the hill.